Pleasant good morning, one and all. Very pleasant morning to good morning to one and all. Welcome. Welcome to this episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today, Wednesday, the 25th day of October 2023. Welcome, one and all. Good morning, good night, good evening, wherever you are. I am conscious that we are all over the globe. And for this class, this very interesting, informative, and educational class. So welcome, welcome. And you know the routine. Share the live. Let people know that we are on. We had a little issue this morning, so it is more important that you share the live because we were unable to stream on one of the pages, on one of the Facebook pages. So right now we're streaming on CAMS TV and on the YouTube page, but on the other Facebook page, Speaking Out Facebook page, for some reason, we are unable to stream there this morning. So share the live. Well, we still have quite a large number of students in the classroom. They were here very early waiting since early this morning. But I wanted to share. Each and every person here should share at least 10 times so that we can have full class. Because I suspect many of the students who normally watch on the Facebook page are not going to be able to see it at this time. We're still trying to resolve that issue so that we can have maximum viewership. So welcome. Very good day. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. We have to be fortunate. We have to tell ourselves we are fortunate to be in the land of the living. We are indeed very fortunate. So many persons would not have been able to make it to see this new day, this dawning of the new day. So share. Yes, Eric, the devil is at work. And they will continue to work, and we will continue to do what we have to do. They will continue to try to get us off, and we will continue to make sure that we are here to bring you the information that you need to get. Good students are here very early in the class, very early. Wayne says watching on Facebook. Well, there are two Facebook pages. That is the my personal page, and then you have the Speaking Out Facebook page. So yeah. Some people say they're watching on Facebook. So good. Share the live. Let people know that we are on. We have so much to tell you this morning. As I indicated in the notification which was sent yesterday afternoon, we're gonna deal with the Venezuelan issue. We're not gonna. There are so many things that have happened: murders, people dying in fire, fatal accidents. But today we are not gonna deal with those issues. We're gonna deal with this Venezuelan issue primarily. We have another issue to deal with too, in relation to some statements made by the Attorney General. We're going to deal with that, and we are going to focus most of our time on this very, very serious issue, which in my view, the government has not been doing what they ought to do. So we're going to walk you through it again, and we're going to discuss what has taken place and what are some of the things that we would like to see happen. And, we were here, when last week, Wednesday. And then because of other engagements, including court engagement, we weren't able to come on Monday. At the end of the program last week, I indicated that we would have explored the possibility of coming on Sunday, but we could not have made it on Sunday. And therefore, Monday we had court, and we're here now, Wednesday, the 25th day of October, to bring you the information. So there's been a long gap, 1 week. Initially we used to do it every Wednesday, and then we started to come in between. And, it's surprising how long a week. I don't understand what some of you are saying, because all the time people are begging us to have more frequent shows. And I could tell you, the fact that we had a show last week, Wednesday, and only having one now again, the time was such a long and agonizing wait for today's program. But we're gonna come. Share the live. I said we have lots and lots of students in the schoolyard from the time we went live, or from the time we scheduled the program this morning, just about 4 o'clock this morning. So many students were in the schoolyard just waiting for us to get started. And we have now started. So I'm going to run through the roll call as quickly as possible, and then we're going to move into the issues that I have identified for us to speak on this morning. As I said, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. terms of those who are in school, first man in the schoolyard this morning was Wayne at 4:09. Yvonne came next. Tessa came in at 4:17. Sean, you're early in the schoolyard this morning again. Sean from New York, very early. Vernon came in 4:37. Denise followed him. Felicia came, then Earl. Barlett all the way from Linden. There, Joan, Randolph Jr., 12538. Junior, old TSU man. Trotty's always here as well. Emerson came in early. Floyd, Brennan, John C. came in all the way, came in very early. Matthew came in. Winston from California is in the house in class very early. Philip is here. Then he says he's in the classroom waiting on the positive information. Jean came in. Who next? Patricia came. Vibert said that he wasn't here last week because of some issue, but he's in school, the schoolyard now. Isla is here. Francis. Terrence all the way from Canada is in the class. Carlisle. Carlton, 9430, my squad mate is here. Cecile is here. Vibert is here as well. 9066 Vibert. Then we have Brian, Princess Earl, 6123, always Lamar Springs. Then we have Stian is here. Winston Arthur from the UK, very good student. Then we had Kenneth, Sydney, Pauline, Kerry, Rohan from New York is here in the class. Lucius, Oren is here. Kamo was so excited to be in the class that he put a wrong number, man. He put a wrong regulation number. He put 2818 when it's 8218. Jacko is here from Georgia. Then we have Courtney, Lyndon. Then next we have Barbara. Queenie from West Coast Boris is here. Isabella is in class. Patricia. Wayne from the UK is here as well. Corinne. Speaking Truth to Power is in class. Maureen. Colin from Queens is here. Samuel is here. Magnell. Evelina. Raul is in class. Always, you don't miss. Jakey is in class. Charlene is there. Anthony. Rastaman. One is which one of them we want? This is the Rastaman vibration. Rastaman. Johnny. Colin. Colin is here. Colin is from Florida. George is an East Coast man, is in class. Carl from Arizona is in class. Carville is here. Doreen from Canada is in class. Tilula is here. Then we have family music. Malcolm Ned is in class. John Rogers is from Clarksville. He's here. TK is in class. Corinne is in class. Evelyn Gordon from Canada is here as well. Michael Brower is from the British Virgin Islands. We have representations from all over. He's here. Daniel Corbin. Chilo is in class. Heather is in class. Sharon is in class. They came in at 10:28. Marlene. Pamela, regular, is in class. Claude Boxerman is in class. Marvin is in class. Bart is in class. Theodore, Oren from the UK. Ian is from Queens. He's in class. Philip came in early. Andre. And then when we went live on Facebook, the first person was Lynette. And Lynette is from Barbados. Then we had our secretary, Denise, Simone, and it went in. Ulrich came in later than usual, but he's here. He's here. Now, let me move on with the program. You know, as I said, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. I guess let me normally start off on these announcements. On the sad note, I told you last week about the death of Javon Stevens from the East Berbice. And according to the program, he will be buried on Saturday at New Amsterdam Stanley Town Cemetery. But it is stated that on Friday afternoon between 4 and 7, they'll be viewing in Georgetown at Likens Funeral Parlor in Norton Street between 4 and 7 on Friday afternoon. And then there's a procession that leaves Saturday morning to go to New Amsterdam. The church there, they said All Saints Presbyterian church, where the service and tributes will be held. Then he'll be interred at the Stanleytown Cemetery. So that's Javon. Then during the week too, we had the death of Mark Bender. Mark was a man in the Ghana Energy Agency, their CEO, I think he was. Mark passed away during the past week. And then word came to hand that a former policeman, Edwin Green, Katz, he was known as Katz, 9950 was his regulation number. He spent a lot of time with the Presidential Guard. He passed away recently. And last week, Wednesday, I noted the absence of a regular on the program, my friend from Jamaica, Dudley Bryant. He was not on the program. And then Dudley informed me later the same day that he was not on because his wife passed away that very, very morning, last Wednesday. So I want to take this opportunity to express condolences to Dudley on the passing of his wife, and to all the surviving relatives and friends of those persons, Javon, Cat Stevens, and Mark Bender, those persons have died. Deepest condolences on behalf of Speaking Out and on my own behalf to those surviving relatives. I hope the good Lord will give you the strength to confront this most challenging time. So and then we had birthdays, the recent birthday. Belated birthday greetings to Nicholas Suffren, my friend Nicholas from Parade Street there. Celebrated a birthday recently, 2 days ago, I think it was. So happy belated birthday to you, Nick. I hope you had a wonderful day. And let me jump the gun and say tomorrow we have some birthdays tomorrow. You know, normally we wait until it passes, but not on this occasion. Because tomorrow we have a birthday of my son, Chilo, who is on the live right now. Chilo celebrates a birthday to you. Advanced birthday greetings to you. I know we're going to talk during the course of the day and during tomorrow, but I can't wait until next week, Wednesday, to say on this program, belated birthday greetings. So we're giving you advanced birthday greetings today. Also celebrating birthdays tomorrow, Assistant Commissioner Simon, I think he's back on Region 5 now, and Superintendent Whitwright, Lansdale, they're celebrating the birthday tomorrow as well. So advanced birthday greetings to you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day and that the good Lord allows you to see many, 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 many more birthdays. Now moving on, we get, we're keeping you informed. We said we have this trumped-up conspiracy to commit fraud trial has commenced. It started on the 25th of last month, and they had issues with the other dates. When it was to continue, I think on the 9th, the prosecutors asked to be excused because they had some training session, and the matter continued yesterday. Yesterday, it continued in the Georgetown Magistrate Court. Well, it's a nice, interesting developments. I'm not at liberty to go into the details of the case, but just to tell you that it is continuing and it is moving at a brisk pace. The case is moving at a brisk pace, and all I can say, we have lots of lyrics, man, lots of lyrics, as the people would say, going on. But as I say, I can't get the details now. You're going to get the details at some later time. So that is a conspiracy to commit fraud where myself, Mr. Conway, some other retired officers, and some serving officers are before the court on that trumped-up charge. And then on Friday, that's the day after tomorrow, I have the matter, the civil lawsuit that was filed by Karim Bash against me. It comes up for trial in the High Court on Friday. So, folks, that is what we have with the court matters. And to move on, Ulrich is there, and all those cricket lovers are on the live. Well, Australia just beat Netherlands by a record number, the biggest defeat in the history of ODI, I think. Because Australia made 399 and bowled them out for 90 or something like that. So they lost by 309 runs. And who can forget a few days ago, this upset a few days ago, where Afghanistan, they beat Pakistan by 8 wickets. Upset. There's the third upset in the tournament. Remember, third upset. Afghanistan beat England. Afghanistan looked to be the giant slayers. They beat Pakistan. And then we had where the Dutch beat the South Africans. So the thing is picking up. Thing is picking up speed. Thing is picking up speed. So let's continue to enjoy the cricket. Now let me bring in my colleague who is anxiously awaiting to join us. CC, good morning and welcome.
Good morning to all. Praise the Lord, I'm in the land of the living and in Guyana, and more particular, and in Guyana, which includes the entire Essequibo. I'm raring to go. I'm raring to do God's work.
Yeah, we are all raring to go. We are all willing to do God's work. Now, let me, as I indicated in the notification, we're going to deal with the Venezuelan issue in a short while. But before we get there, I want to make mention of a matter that came to my attention. That over the past month, there is a particular security company that has been giving firearms to persons who are not authorized by law to carry firearms. A few weeks ago, 3 such persons were held. East Coast matter is a East Coast matter. 3 such persons were held. And I understand there's a lot of dancing going on. Rather than taking action against those who were held with the illegal firearm, because they don't have any legal authority to carry the firearm, they're dancing and they're dancing. And then what happened? Nothing has happened to the company. Company is not sanctioned. And a few nights ago, another person from the same company was held again on the East Coast with a firearm. And nobody is charging these people. Nobody is taking action against the company who is giving persons firearms. They are not. Let me explain quickly. If you are a member of a security company, in order for you to be allowed legally to carry firearm, you have to be made a supernumerary constable and be sworn in as such by the Guyana Police Force. And then you're given a precept. That is what authorizes you, of course, with the necessary training and so on, to have a firearm. But the mere employing of a person in a company, a security company, who has not gone through that process of vetting and training and being sworn as a supernumerary constable is unlawful. And if they are found, if such a person is found in possession of the firearm, then they have to be charged of the unlawful possession of firearm. The company that gave them the firearm ought to be sanctioned. The licenses should be suspended. But I understand that the principals of this particular company has close connection with senior politicians and senior members of the Guyana Police Force. So therefore, nothing is happening. A lot of gymnastics is going on. Everybody dancing and dancing and dancing. And no one wants to take the appropriate action against the persons in whose possession these firearms were found, and the company that has continued to give firearms to persons who are not authorized to carry them. I want to call it out. I know they're going to jump around. They listen, They listen. So we want them to know that we are aware of what is going on with this particular company, perhaps more companies, perhaps more of them, but this particular one, that if you say have close connection with senior politicians and senior members of the force, they are giving firearms to people who are not legally authorized to carry them, and then when they are found, nothing is happened. Either to the individuals in whose possession these firearms were found, or the company who is giving them these firearms. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for his comment on this issue. CC, what are your views on this situation?
Paul, we said it over and over again. We had discussion on several episodes that the Private Security Act is in breach. And as you rightly mentioned, for a person to use a firearm in security service, he got to be sworn, and he got as a supernumerary constable, and he has to go through the required training. And the thing is that if when the breach of the act, this firearm license supposed to be suspended in the first place, and then you ask them, you give them reasonable time to write to state why they should not be totally suspended. And in the meanwhile, they're supposed to seize all the arms and ammunition and revoke all the license of those persons who they employ. You can't get persons breaching it. And you already mentioned is is unlawful possession of arms and ammunition. That should be the charge. But they go down to headquarters and they go to the top floor and the price is right. And that's it.
Yeah, once the price is right, that's it. You know, and I speak from experience because when I was police commander in a division some many years ago, the other particular company had connections to with politicians and people in Rob Street and all of them. And they were found a man that was on duty in Sapphire with a shotgun. And the shotgun was stolen from him. And when we investigated the matter, we realized that the man should never have been in possession of the gun. He was not a precepted security. And then when we started the investigation, we discovered that there were two revolvers that they could not have accounted for. And we seized all the firearms for the company, all. We seized all and did a complete audit. And they had to show reasons why they should continue to hold the license to operate a security company. So the blueprint is there. I did that as a commander in a division. All the firearms for that company were seized and lodged. And I know they jump all over the place, senior people calling and trying to influence the outcome. And people who know me know I tell them plain, the law will be followed. The law, they are giving people firearms who are not authorized legally to carry them, and therefore they are in breach, and I will do what the law requires me to do. And I did just that. I understand that once I left, all the other thing happened, but that was of no concern to me. I would ensure that while I was in the office, the correct thing was done. Now, let me move on. I want to mention this issue again with the Attorney General. The Attorney General, and I'm giving them time for listening and so on, There's an article here in October 24th in Starbuck News where it captioned Attorney General or AG to pursue case against Jordan BK all the way to the CCJ. So this case with the land of the Kingston there, all kind of thing happening. I believe there's a lot of spite involved in it. So the matter was before a judge. The judge ruled in favor of BK and former Minister Jordan. In other words, the matter was brought there. The judge ruled in the favor. The Attorney General Chambers appealed the matter to the full court. The full court, having reviewed the matter, upheld the decision of the judge. Right? Now the Attorney General is saying that he can appeal and he making all sort of nice. He like jump on this NCN and make all kind of nice. But once you read the thing, the basic issue is that the land in question was transferred to NISIL. And therefore, the court ruled, there's my understanding, that the Attorney General, the government, has no standing to file the claim against these people. So the one judge ruled, two judges of the full court rule agreed with the one judge, and now the Attorney General claiming that he's going to go all the way to the CCJ. He like go to the CCJ and he don't win nothing. And you know why he could run to the CCJ? Because he don't have to pay when the award costs and all of that. Because in this same matter before the full court where the two judges upheld the decision of the judge in the court, is that the government got to pay to each of the defendants, that is BK and Mr. Jordan, $2 million. And this is his previous cost, $2 million. There's a total of $4 million awarded as cost. It's not Nandaland money, it's the taxpayers' money. So you can run and say that you go into the CCJ and wasting time, because when you look at this, you don't have to have a law degree. You don't have to be a liar. Once you read the facts, you get common sense and you can comprehend, you know that there's not a ghost of a chance of any success in this matter. So I don't even know if all the rules of the CCJ applies, if having reviewed, if they're going to take up the matter. But let's wait and see. And then there's a next matter too. A few weeks ago, the vice president made a lot of noise on one of his Thursday's rantings, where he called out Mr. Vincent Adams, Dr. Vincent Adams, because Dr. Vincent Adams made a comment in relation to this flaring case that the Chief Justice threw out, and Vincent Adams, being a professional, said that the ruling flies in the face of all the science about climate change and all of that. The Vice President came out, he said, first of all, he said, Vincent Adams is not qualified to speak. Well, if Vincent Adams is qualified to speak on that issue, then you two are not qualified to speak on the same issue. Because Vincent Adams is one of the foremost qualified persons in that area, environmental protection and all of that, oil and gas, and that he is qualified. He is not a so-called doctor. He's a real doctor, qualified to give comment. So he made nice about Vincent's comments, always claiming that Vincent attacking the judge and all of that. And, you know, as we said, this is a real animal farm. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. You have the Attorney General. He, the Vice President himself, have made scathing remarks against judges when decisions are delivered. We recall the decision that was handed down by Justice Kissoon. That is the same EPA decision. They bombarded, they bombased Mr. Kissoon. So much so that an attorney had to write and complain about the conduct of the Attorney General and all of that on his social media page. Now we got a next matter. And let me read this one for you quickly. This one is where 3 men were charged with murder. A bad case. The murder, they went to rob a couple at Good Hope. They were rice farmers, and they went to rob them there. And then they actually set fire to the building, and they died. These people died in the fire. So the men were charged with murder. And what happened? It is reported that this is reported on the 17th of October. And let me read what the report says. The 3 men who had been accused of the 2016 murder of Good Hope rice farmers, Mohammed and his wife Jamila Munir, were yesterday discharged after court found that the prosecution had no case against them. Following a voir dire, and a voir dire basically is a trial within a trial. So you have the big trial, and a voir dire is a small trial to determine a particular issue. So following a voir dire, the judge directed the jury to formally return verdicts of not guilty in favor of the 3 accused. The court ruled, hear this clearly, the court ruled that the caution statements reportedly given by the trio were inadmissible. Apart from those statements on which the state sought to rely to prove its case, it had no other evidence to present connecting the accused men to having committed the crime. In the circumstances, the judge directed the jury to formally return verdicts of not guilty, thereby discharging the former accused of the capital charges. So you have a case, a murder case, where the only evidence is the caution statement. We have been warning about that all the time. The only evidence is the caution statement. The caution statement were deemed inadmissible. Case gone. And here this, and quite rightly so, because you have caution statement, and we all know that. The Attorney General ought to know that. That if you have a caution statement, and that is the only evidence, and the caution statement is not accepted or is not admitted in evidence, the case gone overboard. There's nothing to prove. But having the judge having made that, the Attorney General, Anil Nandalal SC, there's a headline here says, Attorney General suggests appeal in recent acquittal of trio with the murder of East Bank Essequibo couple. And here what it is reported that he said, Attorney General Anil Nandalal believes that the necessary steps should be taken by the state to appeal the acquittal of the 3 men who were charged with the 2016 murder of the elderly Good Hope East Bank Essequibo couple. On Monday last, a High Court judge found the 3 men not guilty of killing the elderly rice farming couple, Mohammed Munir and his wife Jamila. The trial judge has directed the panel to submit formal not guilty verdicts due to insufficient evidence for the accused. Right? However, Nandalal said the decision has caused disquiet among some sections of the society. They go on to quote him to say, many persons called and expressed their concern about the acquittal, It is hoped that the Director of Public Prosecutions will appeal this decision. End of quote. And that was done, they said, on Issues in the News last week, Tuesday. The AG noted that despite the acquittal, the law allows for the state to appeal such matters. And then he's quoted there saying, it is hoped that the case will be appealed because you can recall that a few years ago, this government amended the Court of Appeal Act to allow for the state to appeal against decisions made in the course of a criminal trial. Before that, only the accused had the right of appeal. But while we were in government, we caused amendments for the prosecution to be given a right of appeal in criminal trials in the High Court in certain specific circumstances. Then he goes on again, the quote he is saying here, in my respectful view, these circumstances qualify for that right of appeal to be exercised. It is hoped that the state will exercise the right to appeal. The first thing I have to note there, that is clearly another dog whistle. Because this is a criminal matter. The AG has no authority in criminal matters like this. This is the DPP. And if the DPP is the person with the constitutional authority to prosecute, and the law has been changed to give the DPP the right to appeal, then if the DPP feels that the matter should be appealed, the DPP should have gone ahead and initiate the process to appeal. But this is the Attorney General. This is the Attorney General in whose jurisdiction this matter does not lie. He's saying that he hopes that the DPP will appeal the matter. This is a dog whistle. Once he says that, it is almost certain that the DPP is going to appeal the matter. And here what he says, in my respectful view, these circumstances, referring to the circumstances of this particular case, these circumstances qualify for that right of appeal to be exercised. It is hoped that the state will exercise that right to appeal. This is the Attorney General. And let me say this, students. Let me say this clearly. In criminal matters, murder and other criminal matters, it's not what you know the accused persons would have done. So it might very well be that these men, in fact, killed the couple. In a court of law, and the Attorney General must know this, or else he has no right being a lawyer and Attorney General. That is what evidence you can produce in the court of law to prove the case. It's not what you know. You can know everything. But what evidence are you going to bring to the court to prove the case in this matter? According to the report, the only evidence that they had was a caution statement or 3 caution statements from the 3 accused persons. The other voir dire. So a trial would have been conducted to determine whether these statements were given freely and voluntarily and in conditions that satisfies the judge's rule. That is the essence of a voir dire. It is clear that having gone through the voir dire, the prosecution was unable to satisfy the judge that the statements were given freely and voluntarily, and therefore those statements were not admitted. End of case. Once that is ruled that the case, the caution statements, only evidence they have, that is what they're saying. To link these people is a caution statement. We don't know, I don't know the circumstances under which the caution statement was given, whether the people claim that they were coerced, whether they claim they were beaten. Well, whatever the claim was, the court decided that they were not going to accept the caution statement and the matter gone. And the AG is whistling, giving a dog whistle to say that the state should appeal. In other words, the DPP should appeal. And this DPP, as we have seen over the years, once the Attorney General makes a statement like that, on the National Communication Network, this is where he run on a Tuesday night or whatever night he go. He go there and he says all kind of rubbish, right? So he goes there again, and nothing is wrong with him making that statement. But when Vincent Adams make a statement, when others make a statement, that is what the thing is. They say it's an animal farm. And again, I say, it is not whether you know these people committed a crime or not. That in a court of law is basically immaterial. Is what evidence, you have to bring the evidence to prove it. So don't come with those conjecture and supposition and theories and all that. In a court of law, all over the world, I should say, in a court of law, you have to bring evidence to show that these persons committed the act for which they are charged. And let me tell you something further on this case. As we again have said, the procedure is a murder charge. So these persons would have gone through a preliminary inquiry by a magistrate. Once they went through that preliminary inquiry by the magistrate would have held, remember it's an inquiry, the magistrate then conducting a trial, and the magistrate role is to determine whether there is a prima facie case. In other words, at the first glance, whether there is a case made out. Obviously, the magistrate ruled that at first glance, there is a prima facie, there's a case against these persons. So she would have then, the magistrate, she or he, would have then decided to commit them to stand trial at the High Court. Now, those documents in the magistrate court, the depositions and all the statements and all the evidence and all of those things, would have been sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions. It goes to the director, or they go to the Director of Public Prosecution to be examined. Once they examine it, is when they are satisfied that they have sufficient grounds for a case, then the DPP will indict the suspect, the accused person. The DPP indict. So you got a case, you got a thing where all is passing through all of these systems, all of these filters, and yet still, when it gets to the court, and this is not the only case, repeatedly, they are finding no evidence and the case gone. Broken system. Clearly a broken system. Right? Well, let's see, Danny, you're right. Well, that is the thing now, Danny. That is the recent, Danny is saying the matter was discharged. You have to have additional evidence to institute a charge. Well, Danny, the only thing now what the Attorney General is saying, the matter is discharged. The whole story is now, the state now has a right of appeal. Long ago, as the AG pointed out, in a case, in any criminal case, once you got off, that's it. That's it. If they get new evidence, they could charge you for something else. But once you got off, can't charge you back for the same case because it's double jeopardy, right? But what they did, they amended the law, which gives the state the right to appeal. So before that, if you were convicted, if a person was convicted, that person could appeal. But the state could not have appealed if you were acquitted. But with the recent change in the law, well, it's a recent, this is relative, the recent change in the law, if you are acquitted, the state can appeal, and that is what he's saying that they intend to do. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for his comments on this matter. CC, I'm sure you know the case, your comments.
I follow the case. Note well for the matter. I knew that couple very well when I was Commander West Demerara. We interacted on several occasions. But the thing is that we've been saying all along the line, we don't have proper investigators. And lo and behold,
I see my colleague, like, I know, I see you getting a little, what looked like an internet issue there, where he is buffering. So yeah, he's saying he was saying that we don't have proper investigators, and the thing is that the matters have to be properly investigated. If the matters are not properly investigated, then the chances of successful prosecution are almost non-existent. You have to investigate. If the matter is not properly investigated, you can have the best prosecutor. You're not going to get any place. Let's understand that. You have to get proper investigation. The matter has to be properly investigated. And that is what we have been finding, that these matters are not properly investigated. Too much reliance on caution statement. As in this case, only evidence, so that when the caution statement's gone out, the matter goes through the window. I like to remind students of a case many years ago, a famous case of a man in the Micah or Maikoni Creek, Beni Passad, I think it was murdered during the course of a robbery. 3 or 4 men, I think, went in, they robbed him, killed him, carried away the safe and all of that. That matter was investigated. Ulrich London, Detective Ulrich London, the late, great Ulrich London, 6605, he investigated that matter. And He got caution statements from all of the accused, all of the suspects, caution statement from all of the suspects. The significance of that matter is that when the matters went to the High Court, the caution statements were deemed inadmissible. Despite that, all of those men were convicted for the murder, and all of them faced the gallows. Let me repeat that. The caution statements in that matter were deemed to be inadmissible for whatever reason. But despite the caution statements not being admissible, they had sufficient other evidence to convict the persons. They were convicted, and they all faced the gallows. I see my colleague is back here. CC, welcome back.
Yeah, I had some technical difficulties.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
no,
Continue, please.
no, we're saying and it's dangerous or it's deadly or it's fatal to depend only on caution statement, because the caution statement has got to be free and voluntary. I remember you used to give evidence, and I give evidence in many voir dire where we used to say something like a recitation. I use no threats or violence on him, nor promise him no reward, favor, or hope of advantage. His statement was free and voluntary. It's got to be free and voluntary. And then the crime file has to pass through the various layers, maybe from the investigating rank to the detective officer. And I said a couple of sessions ago, we don't have any detective officer in the true sense of it in the Guyana Police Force. Non-divisional detective officer I can count as a real detective officer. From there, it goes to the commanders, and the commanders like conveyor belts, DPP for advice. And then from the commander, it goes to the head of the criminal investigation department, who now is an attorney at law, and there again, DPP for advice, and it goes to the DPP, and I don't know what the DPP is looking for, but sometimes I get the impression that the DPP say, hey, we ain't got no case here, but let a judge or a jury to decide, or let a magistrate decide. The thing is that if the DPP is the supreme authority, and if there is no case there, stop it, done it there, or send back for clarification. But if you have no case here, it should not go further. And as Paul, you mentioned, the committal by the magistrate, the preliminary inquiry, where the magistrate will go through that. And there again, the paper has to go back to the DPP, and the DPP has to go through before the DPP could commit the person for trial. But the thing is that there isn't proper investigation. You get a caution statement, full stop. Look for forensic evidence. Look for forensic evidence. And I was pleased when I heard the AG announced some time ago, although I'm not certain of the qualification of the people, that he getting 4 experts from India to come to train police in terms of forensic investigation in collaboration with the University of Guyana. Maybe it's a good sign, but we need to look for forensic investigation. And forensic is application of scientific principles to criminal investigations. But the thing is that poor investigation, you wouldn't get poor results. As when you're studying computer, say, GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. You don't have the evidence, you can't get it, you're unlikely to get a conviction.
Yeah, if you don't have the evidence, you haven't got no conviction at all. If you don't have the evidence, then you're going to have absolutely, you can't get conviction. But when we look at some of these matters in the news, we should not be surprised, because you have senior people. Look, the case we refer to, you have Ramana, who is a leading investigator at SOCU. He don't know, or even if he knows, they don't care, that you can't arrest a lawyer for advising our client to of his constitutional right to remain silent. So he promptly arrested, and he tells the lawyer that is our client is compellable. Weird nonsense. The client is compellable. That is what our officer in the police force is telling the persons. And he's a senior. Was a senior investigator at this department, and there are other egregious act committed by the same individual. So it's a clear indication, as I've been saying all along, these people don't know what is going on. We had a situation too, where when the manhandled me in the compound and tell me they wanted the Barshit Code compound, I wanted to read the caution of the charge. A man had to take out a piece of paper from his pocket on which what purported to be the caution of the charge was written. You know it. You are the case of the officer in charge of crime in A division. This is the case with the mayor. When they went to the mayor's office to arrest the mayor, and he wanted to, Mayor, you drop Singh, you drop Singh. When they wanted to arrest him for some remark he made, the officer in charge of crime in Georgetown had to take out some written thing. The caution had to be written for him to read the caution. And all police on this live and all of us know that that caution is something, once you know it all the years, you don't forget it. You're not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so. Or whatever you say will be taken on in writing and given evidence against you. That is, you know that all the time. And this is a senior officer in charge of crime in A division got to read that from a piece of paper. So that tells you of some of the problem that you have. It tells you. So when a case is dismissed, because the only evidence they have is a caution statement. Because even when, I used to tell policemen this, that even when the caution statement is freely and voluntarily given, in other words, you're not BT, you don't out no threat or any make any promise or anything like that. Even the environment in which the statement was taken comes into play. How long was this man in custody before the statement was given? In other words, if the conditions were oppressive, all of that. So you don't have to, the people don't have to accuse the police of violence to get this caution statement. There are other conditions as well. The place have to be, did you offer him food? Is in custody for 4 or 5 hours? Did he eat? Did he get a drink of water? All of those things are questions that are going to be asked in a voir dire. And if you are unable to satisfy the court that the ideal conditions were there for this caution statement to be taken, it is going to be thrown out. And to hear the Attorney General making all sort of nice, and I am almost certain how these people operate, that Ian see the file, Ian see the file, Ian see the reasons, he did not hear the reasons for the why the statements were admitted. I am sure, but that is the way they operate. So his statements are not based on any facts. People call it. That's why he said people express concern that this matter was dismissed. So what? So what? People express concern. What does the law say? You're the Attorney General. You got to stick with the law. You should be able to advise them that based on the circumstances, that is, if you knew what the circumstances were, why were the statements not admitted? That's the first thing you got to find out. Why were these caution statements, the only evidence in this matter, not accepted? And then you move from there. But to jump the gun and to blow your dog whistle about appealing, the state should appeal. This is the Attorney General of the state. Because he can't appeal. He has no standing in the matter. That is the DPP. It's a criminal case, the DPP has to appeal. But you jump on the NCN, issues in the news, spew a lot of nonsense, and then you get the followers that believe. That is the problem we have. Mr. Conway, any further comment on this?
Yeah, just to say that they don't understand the judge's rule, and that deals with caution statement. Remember recently, the head of the OPR said he cautioned some defendant over the telephone, and then he can't remember what the caution said. When he can't say, and it will be, you're not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so, but we say will be recorded in writing. So you're going to write it down so you can't remember. And I was astonished about a few days ago, I went in the court, and there was a detective sergeant giving evidence. And he said that he contacted the defendant at CID headquarters and told him that he was charged. And then he read the caution to him. And here was the caution he read to the man. You are not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so. But what we say will be taken down in writing and given in evidence. That is the caution before charge. And the caution after charge I learned that 50 years ago. It say, I wish to put some questions to you in relation to the offense to which you have been charged. You are not obliged to say anything unless you wish to do so. But what will you say will be taken down in writing and given in evidence. You know, they don't understand the judge's rule. Therefore, when they have a caution statement, and that is the only thing that they want to connect the person with the crime, it's going to go overboard because they don't understand the judge's rule in terms of whether the statement is free and voluntary. There are no threats, there are no promises, there are no rewards of hope or advantage. And as you rightly mentioned, the environment in which the person was held, whether they give them food, whether they give them water, as the case may be. So they need to make sure that they have proper training in relation to the judge's rule, especially when they're going to do with caution statement. And I'm saying don't depend on the caution statement alone. Find never evidence to connect the person. Find a short button or something and go and connect it to the person. Find a piece of fabric and connect it to the person. Find some fingerprint and then them kind of thing. Do forensic investigation.
Yeah, do forensic investigation. I don't know what he's saying, what Mr. Conway is saying here now. Let me explain it. What he's saying is that the person was charged. Said that the sergeant said that the person was charged and he cautioned him. That's after he was charged. But the caution that he read to him is the wrong caution. He read the caution before charge. And the person was already charged. And as he said, once you are charged, there's a different caution that you have to read to that person because a different mechanism flow, statement, question and answer, and all of those things, the judge's rule. So you have, as Mr. Conway is saying, you have a detective sergeant who is given evidence that he told the person that he is charged, and he told him the offense for which he is charged. And then he cautioned him after charge. But the caution that he read out is the caution before charge, not the caution after charge. And you want to know, many times you want to know why these cases are dismissed and so on. But because of this incompetence, this is a sergeant, a detective sergeant, don't know what is the caution after charge. So a matter like that now, when all of those things, those things are taken into consideration, it's problems for the prosecution. And as I've said before, if the matter is not properly investigated, no matter how brilliant the prosecutor you bring, they're not going to get any place. And when it comes to caution statement, I mean, the lawyers, you get a voir dire, these lawyers are going to ask them all kind of questions. And that is where you have to prove your competence and your professionalism if you are the person who took the statement, if you are the person who witnessed the statement, because you have to anticipate all of that. I remember a story told many years ago. I don't know if it's a fable or what. There was a famous detective called Crawford who went to court and said that he cautioned the defendant or the accused. And then he was asked, what did you say? What did you caution him say? And he said, he started by saying, my friend, you are not obliged to say anything. Trouble right away. But how can you tell him that? How can you call him friend? Are you his friend? Isn't that some way of trying to ameliorate or to soften the smart, to get the smart to give a statement? The mere phrase, my friend, no. You have to go straight to what the law says. And that is the problem you have with many of the and senior ones too. Senior ones, as we have been saying, part of the big problem in the force is that you have too many senior police officers who are not police. You have senior police officers who are not police. You want to know what I mean? They're wearing the uniform. But in terms of police procedure and so on, policies and procedure, they don't have a clue as to what is going on. Senior police officers. And this is evident from a lot of these things where state things are sent to the DPP and basic things. We spoke about the Bobby's issue, where a senior police officer demanding command can tell the media, oh, we arrested, we're doing profiling. We are doing profiling. That's what senior police officer can say. And that is part of the problem we have, folks. And again, I would say, in many instances, you can't blame them. You have to blame the system that allows them to get into those senior positions without being properly qualified for being in those positions, and maintaining, in many cases, bad behavior and incompetence are rewarded. Again, come back to Ramana, a classic case. Bad behavior is rewarded. And so what? Once you continue to reward bad behavior, what do you expect? What do you expect? Dogs, let me see anything more on this before we move on to this Venezuelan issue.
No, let me rush on to the Venezuelan issue. We said enough. We might come back to that some another episode.
Yeah, we can definitely come back to it because, as I said, it's an opportunity to highlight these things, to bring it to the attention of the administration, to bring it to the attention of the individuals so they can seek to correct themselves. Folks, before we go into this Venezuelan thing, let me invite you all to share the live, share. This Venezuelan issue is a very, very important issue. And as many persons as possible ought to be on this live. I know even if you're not on the live, I'm sure they're going to look at the on YouTube and on Facebook to follow, because this is very, very important. This issue with Venezuela, as we've been talking about all the time, is getting worse by the day. You know, a quick background, and this is a recent controversy. Guyana had these oil blocks to offer in our exclusive economic zone. I think 8 blocks were offered. And then Venezuela jumped in and said, look, this is not Guyana territory. This is disputed territory, and the Guyana government has no right to offer these oil blocks. And they start to rattle the saber. They got to the stage where the Venezuelan president convened, well, not the Venezuelan president, some election commission decided that they're going to have a referendum to decide on this issue. This is notwithstanding the fact that the border issue was arbitrated in 1899. You have the 1899 Arbitral Award took place in Paris, where the Venezuela was represented, America was represented, the Britain, we were a colony then, they were represented. At the end of that process in 1899, it was unanimously agreed that on the borders between Guyana, Venezuela, and also Brazil, you know, it's important to note that in that arbitration in 1899, Brazil was also given territory which Venezuela wanted to claim. They aren't jumping on Venezuela. They have not made any nice. They aren't jumping on Brazil. They have not made any nice about that. But they're making nice about 2/3 of Guyana's territory, Essequibo. So what happened? They went to the arbitration. The people awarded the land, Essequibo, to Guyana. They agreed. A unanimous decision. They were represented. They agreed to the arbitration, to the award. A few years later, they had a survey in which they participated to draw the boundary line between Guyana, Brazil, and Venezuela. At some later time, having agreed to all of that, they went to what they call the trijunction, where those 3 borders reach, and erected a plaque that is what the border between Venezuela, Guyana, and Brazil is. They did all of that. They participated all of that. The records show all of that. And then they waited until 1962, as Guyana was approaching independence, to claim that the arbitral award of 1899, was not valid. They claimed that one of their representatives, the junior lawyer that represented them, in a memoir that was released after his death, claimed that there was some conspiracy, jiggery-pogery between the British and the American to award this territory to British Guyana at the time. That is what they claimed. They waited until 1962, as we were approaching independence, to claim that. And it has been going on. They claim in 1966, because when the borderline was drawn, it was drawn through an island called Ancoco, which is right at the top there. Part of the island belongs to Venezuela, I think the western part. The other part is Guyana. In 1966, Venezuela moved in on our part of the island, Ancoco. They took over Ancoco and has been illegally occupying Ancoco since 1966. In 1970, they waged aggressive program against the Ettering area, where that's the border with Venezuela, where they bombarded the police station, rockets and mortar fire at the police station. Policemen had to flee. That is 1970 as we were approaching our Republican status. And from then to now, we're in between, when boats, ships were going out there to explore for oil and fish investors and all of that, they have expelled them from what is our exclusive economic zone. The Mpoknakas and farmers along the Kaini River, which separates Guyana from Venezuela at a particular point, will tell you of the harassment, having to pay a toll and all of that. Some miners have even said they fly Venezuelan flag just to avoid being harassed, even though they are not Venezuelan. So the issue has been going on and on. Now, in recent times, after this all-black issue, they decided that they were going to have a referendum to determine certain issues. I'm going to read the issues to you in a short while. This is certain questions. 5 questions are to be asked in this referendum. Right? Now, understand this. Understand this. For years, the Venezuelans have been indoctrinated to believe that Essequibo belongs to Venezuela. They're teaching them that in school. So when you have this referendum and the questions that are to be asked in the referendum, what do you think the people are going to see? 5 questions are to be asked in the referendum. What do you think those persons are going to say? And let me bring in Mr. Conway at this point for him to obviously say up to this point, and then we're gonna move on. CC, take a bite.
Well, first thing we will develop it later. I'm happy that there appear to be a national consensus. I'm happy that the president and the leader of the opposition met, since a party met. I'm happy that some very prominent persons have come out with statements, which we're going to talk about later. So you move on.
All right, yes. I'm trying to get this the questions in the referendum to put up. Let me see. Hold a minute. Let me get these the questions that they want to be asked in the referendum. I have it on a file here. I'm going to show it to you, and we're going to go through one by one what these people are asking. Just bear with me 1 minute. One minute here. All right. It's loading very slowly. Now, as I've said, they decided that they're going to have a referendum on December the 3rd. And 5 questions will be put to the Venezuelans. They're going to put 5 questions. And y'all read with me as we go along. Question 1, right? The first question they're going to ask the Venezuelan population is, do you agree to reject by all means in accordance with the law, the line fraudulently imposed by the Paris Arbitration Award of 1899 that seeks to deprive us of our Guyana Essequibo? They want to ask if they agree. In other words, whether the 1899 arbitrary award, which resulted in the borders being drawn, if this line, what they call fraudulently imposed, they refer to it as fraudulently imposed by the Paris arbitration. They agreed to this thing back in 1899. And note, the last 2 words there is not a misspelling. That is how they're spelling Guyana, that is Spanish Guyana, and that's how they spell Essequibo. So that is the first question that they are asking in this referendum. The second question, do you support the 1966 Geneva Agreement as the only valid legal instrument to reach a practical and satisfactory solution for Venezuela and Guyana regarding the controversy over the territory of Guyana Essequibo? That's the second question they're going to ask. So basically they're talking, because let me again, and this is what we said, the government has been very, very slack and playing catching up. Because when you talk about the 1966 Geneva Agreement and the 1899 Arbitral Award, many people don't know what they're talking about. Many people don't know what we're talking about. Even I must admit that I don't have the full details of all of this matter. I'm just telling you some things that I've read. I'm no expert in this, and they have lots of experts who can bring the information to the public through whatever medium or whatever media they have to use. You have experts. So this 1966 Geneva Agreement they're talking about, remember we said after the 1899 Arbitral Award, they hadn't make no nice until 1962 as we were approaching independence. They bring up the issue then, and there's a Geneva Agreement which says that this matter should be resolved peacefully in a particular way. It gives the United Nations Secretary General a role to play. Now, as a result of that, the United Nations got involved. They had what we call the good officer process, where dialogue, we appoint somebody, they appoint somebody, they were meeting and they were discussing along with the UN. That went nowhere. It went nowhere. The 1966 Geneva Agreement also provides for another course of action. That is the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, to decide the issue. So during the last administration, the coalition administration, they decided the fact that over 40 years, this good officer process wasn't going anywhere. They approached United Nations. United Nations said, all right, let me get the International Court of Justice involved. So the matter gone to the International Court. Venezuela has claimed repeatedly that the International Court of Justice has no jurisdiction to inquire and to pronounce on this matter. The International Court of Justice, I think it was April of this year, ruled that they do have the necessary jurisdiction and therefore they're going to inquire into this matter. So they don't want that. The third one, do you agree with Venezuela's historical position of not recognizing the jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice to resolve territorial controversy of Guyana Essequibo? What historical position are you talking about? The historical position shows that they agree with the 1899 Arbitral Award. It shows that. And many other documents. I read something the other day from, I think it was Professor Mizir or someone of those persons. And that is what I'm saying. Government got to get involved to educate people on this issue. So that is what they have there. And then the fourth one, we agree to oppose by all means in accordance with the law. In accordance with the law, Guyana's claim to unilaterally dispose of a sea pending delineation illegally and in violation of international law. This is about craziness. Craziness. Then the last one, do you agree with the creation of a Guyana Essequibo state and the development of an accelerated plan for the comprehensive care of the current and future population of that territory that includes, among others, the granting of citizenship and Venezuelan identity card in accordance with the Geneva Agreement and international law, consequently incorporating said state on the map of Venezuela territory. Folks, this one is the most pernicious of all of them. Because basically what they're saying here, they're asking the Venezuelan population in this referendum on December the 3rd, whether they agree with the creation of Essequibo state. In other words, whether they believe that Essequibo should be a state of Venezuela. That is what it means. And further, if they agree to this Essequibo being the state of Venezuela, then comprehensive care. Imagine Venezuela talking about comprehensive care, then people running from Venezuela by the hundreds of thousands to escape starvation and to escape all type of privation and all of that. And they're talking about plan for a comprehensive care of the current and future populations of that territory. That is Essequibo. They're talking about comprehensive care to Essequibo, the population now and future population, and to grant them citizenship and Venezuelan identification card in accordance with Geneva Agreement on International Law. There's no Geneva Agreement or international law which says that can happen. Consequently incorporating said state on the map of Venezuela territory. In other words, once the they vote in favor of. Which one? No, this is a fait accompli. They're going to vote in favor of, and then they're going to say, well, then we got the authority of the Venezuelan to annex. It's an annexation to add on Essequibo to Venezuelan territory. This is what it is. This is what it is. And that is what we're saying, and agree with the light one here. He's saying that before, and we've been saying this all along, before they get together and educate people. And, you know, let me say this to this, the man comment, the light one. I mean, you're free to your views, but you come every week on this program, and all you can see and do is attack Norton. What is Arby Norton doing? Arby Norton and the opposition had meeting yesterday with the president and them. The people who are to act in this matter is the government. The government of Guyana, they were voting there to represent all of us and to make sure that our territory or our territorial integrity is secure. So you continue to come and you're asking us other questions. You have a right to do so. But if you're going to ask stupidness, then I got to deal with you appropriately, because stupid questions will have stupid answers and stupid consequences. Every week you come, that is only your aim. What is the opposition leader doing? What is the president, the vice president, the prime minister, the minister of foreign affairs? What are all of those persons doing in this matter? We have been on this program for the longest while, calling out, so that, look, we need to sensitize the Guyanese public as to this about this matter. We need to get on the airwaves and let people know what the Venezuelans are doing. We said that they need to involve the international community, to involve CARICOM. We have said this long ago on this program, and then they're nothing. The first time they issued a statement last week, Tuesday night, one statement by two departments, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Office of the President, basically saying the same thing. Then the issue statement, the Chief of Staff say, oh, there's no need to worry, and there's no need to worry. And then they're spewing the Venezuelan propaganda that they build up of troops on the border, or the activities on the border related to illegal gold mining. Whereas the people that you're building up there are combat troops. Combat troops. And if you listen to the videos, those people who have interpreted those videos, I don't know Spanish, made it clear that they're talking about they to come onto Essequibo. That is what they're talking. That is what they're talking about. Yeah, the opposition leader is supposed to keep the government in check, but the government need to be proactive and deal with this matter. So while that is so, why are you not calling out the government people for not doing anything in this matter? They have the resources and everything. They have the resources. They are the ones who should be held accountable. But you have, apparently you have your own axe to grind. Well, I'm not going to allow you to grind it here. Let me tell you plain up front. If you get your axe to grind, go grind it elsewhere. Because while I agree, the opposition leader has a responsibility to hold the government accountable. All of us have that responsibility as well, all Guyanese, especially when it comes to a matter like this, which impacts on our territorial integrity. Our territorial integrity. You're asking what combat troops? Look at the videos. That is what they're saying. It's not me. They say, the Venezuelans are saying this. They're rallying, you see in all these videos with boats, with and all kind of thing. That is what they are saying. It's not me as a guy saying that. So while people come to say that they are doing, they're dealing with illegal mining, the very words uttered by the Venezuelan soldiers and their commanders belies that. Belies that. So let me bring in Mr. Conway. Yes, CC. Hold on, one more. Yes, go ahead.
I'm happy that an attempt is made by the government to really address this issue, because we have been saying that all and all along the line, and the government has got to take the lead role. And I'm happy that there was a meeting with the leader of the opposition and team and the government and team, but surprisingly, I was looking for two names there, persons present, but I didn't see them. I didn't see the Attorney General there. Neither did I see Mr. Ford, who is the shadow minister for the Attorney General position. But the thing is that we need to come together. When dealing with the sovereignty of the country, is all of us. All of us got to be involved, or all will be consumed and we must be aggressive in our approach, very aggressive in our approach. I read or I listened to Commodore Gary Bess, former chief of staff, and he was very instructive. You talk about taking tactical action. You talk about diplomacy. You talking about support for our troops and many other issues. And I think Dr. Mark Corton had a very interesting letter to the in the press there. But the thing is that the government has got to take the lead rule. They've started a very slow off the block. I expected them to move with breakneck speed, and I think the parliamentary committee has got to deal with it. And I would like to see the leader of there's an opportunity now for the leader on the opposition and the president to go on stage somewhere in the Essequibo or in several parts of the Essequibo. Go on stage and talk to the people. Let them know our position, or urge them. Let and we need to spread the education, and we're not doing that. That the thing is a very serious business. And then even we, the Ghana police force, what is a man who is squatting, the extended squatter? What is he doing? I read recently that the chief of staff went to Iterbang. I don't know what he told him, man, but that Iterbang is not the only location. They have several other locations, and some people from Yarakito moving out from Yarakito, the reports I got. Why do they go to Kaikan? Why they go to Imbuturio? Why they don't go to Morwana, Baramito, Aquario? Why they don't go those places? Go and give comfort and give confidence to the troops. And then you got to look at, are the troops properly trained to react to any situation? The whole thing called for a massive plan of action and move into action. We must be prepared for what is expected to come. We can't sit back and say, hey, Venezuela not good nothing. They only amassing troops on our border to deal with illegal mining in our waters. No way. That we need to take action, and there is a coming together with the government and the opposition, which is a good sign, and the government used to make full use of it. Leader of the opposition, I mean, they might, and the president, they might not shake hands, but they would agree with the defense of this country, and that's the way we must go. I remember years ago when they had bitter political rivalry in Jamaica with Siag and Manley. Rastaman, Bob Marley got them together on stage to shake hands and talk one language. And there is it that the leader of the opposition has indicated that he's willing to talk, and then he's coming together with the defense of the country, and he has met with the president. They need to go several steps further and then ask, where is the attorney general and where is the opposition shadow minister attorney general?
No, good question. And again, I say, because you get the impression that when they have these meetings, it is just a PR thing. That is what you get. That is the feeling that you get. The government invite the opposition and they go in there as a one-off. But this is a serious matter. This is one of the most serious matters that we would have had in our whole lifetime. This is our two-thirds of Guyana, two-thirds, the entire Essequibo. Venezuela basically saying that when they go to the referendum on December the 3rd, they are going to make a decision to annex Essequibo. Essequibo then becomes a state of Venezuela. And we sit down. And we have been calling on this program for weeks now. For more action in this matter. We have been going out on the streets in front of the Venezuelan embassy in Thomas Street and mounting protests. We have had 4 of them thus far. And we're going again tomorrow. Tomorrow, we are going there again to make our voices heard. And you have people come on this program and go elsewhere. And what they do. They're just pointing fingers. But all of us are involved. All of us should be involved in letting our voices heard. And as I've said before, this is one issue where we should show the world that despite all our political differences, We are united in this issue. We are united, and we say not a blade of grass when Essequibo belongs to us. Because you have some policies right now, people talking, I listen to some of the commentators. You have an open door policy, so the Venezuelans are rushing into this country illegally and being accepted. You don't know who is who. They've been coming in illegally and they're accepted by the government. We saw when that boat, or those boatloads of them come on a tuition. What happened? Within a short space of time, they were all released to go wherever they want in the community. You want to tell me we have a national security advisor, we have all those people, they don't see that those things are a threat to our national security? This is not ordinary refugees or migrants coming in. These are people coming from a country that has laid claim to 2/3 of our territory. And we are just treating them like ordinary people that come in here. And the question is, as I've been asked, how many Trojan horses, how many agents, how many soldiers? They don't know. The vice president made a statement to say that the people who are coming to Guyana have family ties. How you know that? When they just come and you lose them while in the place. How do you know that? And when statements like that are made, one has to reflect on a change to the Registration Act, which allows this very people, instead they get family ties, they will go, and people are saying they're going and getting birth certificate, Guyanese birth certificate. So it appears as though that this government is only interested in votes. When they see Venezuelan migrants coming, they don't see nothing to do with the territorial integrity of this country. They're seeing votes. That is what they are seeing. Votes. And this is far more serious than that. And I've said here, following the referendum statement by the Venezuelan, the 5 points that they raised that will be voted on December 3rd, the government of Guyana issued a statement. And let me read the statement, what the government said. The government of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana has taken careful note of the issuance by the National Election Council of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela of 5 questions to be asked in the national referendum scheduled for December 3rd, 2023. Among other questions, all of which are intended to further Venezuela's unlawful and unfounded claim to more than 2/3 of Guyana's national territory. Question 5 is the most pernicious. It brazenly seeks the approval of Venezuelan people of the creation of a new Venezuelan state consisting of Guyana's Essequibo's region, which would be incorporated into the national territory of Venezuela, and the granting of Venezuelan citizenship to the population. This amounts to nothing less than the annexation of Guyana's territory in blatant violation of the most fundamental rules of the United Nations Charter, the OAS Charter, and general international law. Such a seizure of Guyana's territory would constitute the international crime of aggression. The statement goes on to say the government of Guyana categorically rejects any attempt to undermine the territorial integrity of the sovereign state of Guyana. The government finds abhorrent that the Essequibo region, which forms part of the territory of Guyana, in accordance with the 1899 arbitral award, and demarcated the boundaries of the state of Venezuela and then British Guyana, should be created into a state within Venezuela. Further, the government rejects the internationally unlawful act to put forward the granting of citizenship and Venezuelan identity card in accordance with the Geneva Convention and international law, end of quote. It is by way of the Geneva Agreement and the principles of international law that the question of the validity of the arbitral award of 1899 has been put before the International Court of Justice. This court has ruled that it has jurisdiction to hear this case. Guyana has repeatedly encouraged Venezuela to participate in this case. The people of Guyana remain resolute against any threats to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of their country. Neither the government or people of Guyana, let me read about please, neither the government or the people of one country have the right in international law to seize, annex, or take territory of another country. International law emphatically prohibits this. The government of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana calls the attention of the international community to the actions being carried out by the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, which have the potential to incite violence and to threaten the peace and security of the state of Guyana and the existence of by extension, the Caribbean region. That is the statement issued by the government of Guyana following this referendum questions. And only yesterday, this statement was issued on the 23rd. And yesterday, the Venezuelans issued a statement to basically saying, and you know, somebody, let me read a part of it. I can read out the whole statement. They issue a statement to say, Venezuela rejects the offensive statement by the government of Guyana regarding the consultative referendum on the Essequibo. Imagine that statement I read to you just now from the Guyana government. The Venezuelan said that's an offensive statement by the government of Guyana. Look, I am saying that we have to get, the government has to get more proactive. And the man asked about combat troops. We have combat troops to parade at the bandits, but we have other things we could do. And we have said one of the main things that we should do is to inform the international community of this aggressive action by Venezuela, international community, including CARICOM. And even with CARICOM, you have to be careful because some of them are dependent on Venezuela for oil, Petro-Caribbean and all of that. And now that the Americans have eased the sanction on, or elected to ease sanctions on Venezuela, they can look forward to the oil. So enough of them are going to be cutthroats, I suspect, right? Enough of them are going to be cutthroats. We have to, perhaps even more importantly, you have to sensitize and to educate the Guyanese population, both in Guyana and in the diaspora, as to what this whole thing is about. People do not know. Talk about the 1899 Arbitral Award. Talk about the 1966 Geneva Convention. Let people know what this issue is all about. All of this historical thing are on our side. But people have to be educated. The very people in Essequibo, you got to be educated. So when people go there to them and tell them, all right, we bring an ID card, what should they do? We have to educate our people about this whole thing. But they are not doing this in a very proactive manner. Our next thing that I am saying, and other commentators have said recently, we have to get to the stage now we have to stop, control the migration of Venezuelans into Guyana. Based on the stats of the last census, right now in Region 1, Barima Waini, you might have more Venezuelans, refugees, and migrants there than Guyanese, the indigenous population there. That is a dangerous thing. And the Chief of Staff, former Chief of Staff, has pointed out to the annexation of Crimea by Russia and say maybe the stage is being set for something similar in Guyana. But what? Nobody has been told anything. Thursdays, you get the Vice President attacking left, right, and center. You get Anil Nandalal on issues in the news in the night, attacking left, right, and center. Everybody they're cussing out. And they're not using that opportunity to educate and to inform the Guyanese public as to what this thing about. I know why. I believe it's because they see when a Venezuelan come across here, all they see is vote. Give them birth certificate, give them ID card so they can vote. But they're going to vote. They might vote for you and they're going to end up not having a territory to rule over. Because if Venezuela annex Essequibo as they're planning to do, then I don't know what you want to rule over. I don't know what you would want to rule over. So we got to control the population. I am saying too that you have to have, they like talk about campaign. You have to have a campaign now to make sure that all the illegal Venezuelans in this country, that they're all over, illegal Venezuelans in this country are rounded up and deported. Once they're illegal, if people come legally, they talk about family ties and they go through the process and they're illegally fine. But if they're illegal, you have to throw them out just as how you throw out the Asians. That is what has to happen. But to come and the one after, again, I have to emphasize, we have been talking about this issue here on this program, Speaking Out, for about 3 weeks now. And they're very lukewarm in their response. First response, you must have said, oh, there's nothing to worry. It's just mining, the wrong illegal mining and all that. And let me understand this thing clearly. The Americans have promised to ease sanctions against the Venezuelan government. They are to have general elections next year. This action or these actions by the Venezuelan president are clearly designed to galvanize and to mobilize support of the Venezuelan people to vote for him. Clearly, it has clear political motives. And we sit back here and we have a government who seems not to care about what is going on. They're running all over the place, they're talking all manner of things. But this major issue that impacts on the sovereignty of Guyana, they are not paying the due attention to it. A one-off meeting here and a one-off meeting there will not work. We have said, go back in the records, we told them, you should have had an emergency session of cabinet to address this issue weeks ago. We said on this program, you should have the National Assembly debating this issue. In addition to all other action, we say you should have rallies around the country, especially in Essequibo, sensitizing and showing people that we are united on this issue. We say too that the fact that you putting Spanish words on the police vehicles and the police stations, right, should be discontinued. The Minister of Home Affairs said it was a trial. The trial should come to an end immediately. These people are making joke with this issue. They are making joke. You decide you're going to have, imagine Venezuela decide they're going to annex Essequibo. You don't do some of the work for them because you already get your vehicle marked Policia. You already get stationed with the Spanish word. So you're giving comfort to your enemy. And the law says giving comfort to your enemy is treason. Let me bring in Mr. Conway at this stage.
Paul, I endorse all the things that you have said, and we doing the work for them because we work like we even giving away the quarantine too because the police station there in Spanish. But the thing is, they made a start, but I expected them to move with breakneck speed and address this thing more aggressively. I be saying I might sound monotonous that we need to look at our dime. Diplomatic is it our intelligence, our military, and our economics. Those things I maybe in another program I will go more in details, but the dime is important. Diplomatic action, our intelligence, both local and in Venezuela, our military, our economy. We should have our best ambassador there. We get a doctor there, maybe because he could talk a little Spanish, and because he believed in the president, he told the ambassador to Venezuela. We should get our best there, experience diplomatic person. We should be going around the world to our friends and informing them of what was going on. Our intelligence, we should be gathering intelligence left, right, and center. But I don't know if we have any proper intelligence. There's the whole thing. Or military, and then go back to military, include the police, the joint services, the man who sits in the seat, the extended squatter, he should have been chartering plane, going to Itarimang, going to Kaikan, going to Purimo, in Bamalay, and all those places there, and talking to his ranks in an effort to get them to be motivated. And it's easy to charter because if his cousin could charter a flight and go to Skelton and then fly to Rosa Kanji and then back to Joshua. Why you can't charter a flight and go and deal with territorial issues, things of national issues? The squatters got to be proactive, and other police officers got to be proactive. Look at your ranks at the border locations. Talk to them, deal with them, reassure them, hey, that we all in this thing together. But no, people just sit down quietly and then do nothing, waiting for things to happen. And if the government should take a page out of the Israeli books, I'm not talking what they're currently doing with the Palestinians and in the Gaza Strip. They were brutally, brutally let me see. They want politically stable. They want political stable. They have big demonstrations and all kind of thing there. But they unite because of the defense of the country. They come together and form a war criminal. Although politically they don't agree, but in terms of defense of the country, they are united, ironclad united. And here we have an opportunity for us to be united in terms of the defense of our country, and we begin at a snail pace. We begin at a snail pace. We need to be more aggressive, and we need to do far better than we need to do. Not statements condemning Venezuela here and there. I agree with the statements, but we got to move from talking into action, into mobilizing our people, into sensitizing them, into let them know what is happening. What about the unjust claim by Venezuela? It is time for action and stop the damn talking and move into real proactive action.
Right, you're right. You always got to also remind the audience, the students, that only recently decided they're gonna appoint an ambassador to Venezuela, a diplomatic neophyte, in what perhaps is the most important diplomatic position at this time. And I refer to Dr. Richard Van West Charles. They said is going to be appointed as the ambassador to Venezuela. A man who was, as far as I'm aware, absolutely low diplomatic credentials, but he is who they're sending me. So everything for them is politics. Everything for them is politics. Folks, let me bring in Mr. Conway for his closing remarks, and then we're going to wrap it up. CC, your closing remarks.
Okay, I'm saying that we need to be aggressive. I say we need to look our dime. Diplomacy, intelligence, military, the economy. But let me jump out from the economy, spring off. In this oil producing country, in this country where we say we're the fastest growing economy in the world, you know what happened in Region 6? Police Region number 6? The ranks have been instructed, have been ordered. Remember, the president went up there about 2 weeks ago to hold a outreach, and the ranks were instructed, were ordered to spruce up the buildings, spruce up the compound, and when they asked where the material was going to come from, they said they got for porks, they got to beg. So they start demanding from persons paint and other thing to nice up the building, to spruce up the building for the visit of the president. And those who refused were threatened with transfer to other location. Here's it, that police begging for paint. Police purchasing paint to paint police building and to paint the fences and everything though. And they're saying it's blue and white paint they want. And they're begging for paint for put on things on the police Spanish writings on the vehicles and the Spanish writing on the buildings. That is happening in Borbis. And I want them to debunk me.
Right. Thanks for that, my friend. Folks, as we close, let me just tell you again, as I've said, I see they said we went to pick up, we will continue the picketing exercise. We're going back there tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock, because this thing has gotten worse since we started. We are going there tomorrow. You are free to join. You're free, as I've said before, too, you're free to conduct your own exercises to show the world what our thinking is on this issue. As we said, not a blade of grass. That is what should be, not a blade of grass. We should come together as a nation. Forget about politics. And that has to be led by the government ministers, followed by the opposition. So this man was talking about Norton. Government has the primary responsibility in an area like this. They have all the diplomatic contacts, they have all the resources, and therefore they should be the ones. As I've said, rather than going on a Thursday and cuss out people on a press conference, rather than going on NCN and cuss out people and call out the judges and all of those type of things, they should focus some attention on the Venezuelan issue to inform and educate us what it is all about. I am going again. We are going to continue our protest tomorrow, Thursday, in Thomas Street, in front of the Venezuelan embassy. We're starting there at 10, and the embassy is located between George Road and Thomas, and that is Kwamina Street. We are going there because, as we call ourselves patriots, but there are a lot of other patriots, and we can't be hiding away and coming on this program and other programs and be keyboard warriors. We have got to go out on this issue in particular. We have got to make, they say boots on the ground. We have to get boots on the ground to show. Because Venezuela did that a couple of weeks ago. They had a big rally in Caracas. And yet still we sit back and we waiting a few diplomatic statements. And I don't know what else we are waiting for. That is what, or perhaps more oil blocks or more oil fields, more oil reserves to be found so that the money can be reduced. You know, these fancy maths that is do, 214-ton tree and them type of other fancy mathematics. Perhaps that is what they're waiting for. But I have news to you. I have news to you. If Venezuela, as they were, all of that dry up. If Venezuela should have their way. So you better look at the forest and not just at the leaves. You're not even looking at the tree. You're looking at the leaves. Folks, as it is now, we plan to be here on Monday. Because we don't have court on Monday. Our next court date is Tuesday. So all things being equal, if it is his will, we are going to be here on Monday to continue to bring you additional information. Because you noted, we said we can't touch on crime, we can't touch on traffic. We believe that the two main issues that we touched on this morning were important enough to be dealt with today. So we have other issues that we want to speak about, and we're going to try to do so on Monday. So, folks, stay well. I always encourage you to be safe, and God's willing, next, as I said, Monday, we're going to be here again for another program of Speaking Out, exposing incompetence, exposing corruption and incompetence. Until then, bye.
This land is our land now. We're gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow, but never break. Our fathers came here, and they lived and died here, and we are moving from here. Make no mistake. No, we ain't giving up no mountain. No, we ain't giving up no tree. We ain't giving up no river that belong to we. Not one blue sake. Not one rice grain, not one for us, not a blade of grass.